is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds.
Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud the best, bro. He's hands down. He the best. He the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him respect no matter what. You got to give him respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do.
I've been a world champion, as you know, and I've been a 3-division world champion, but I've only won 1 of the belts. I don't know what it is to be undisputed. I don't know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable.
Stephen A. Smith recently pushed back on Floyd Mayweather's comments downplaying Terence Crawford's win over Canelo Alvarez. Smith emphasized that Crawford's achievement was nothing short of historic, as no fighter before him had managed to become undisputed across multiple weight divisions. He argued that Crawford has fully earned his legacy through skill and perseverance, and should be celebrated rather than criticized. In Smith's view, the victory over Canelo wasn't just another notch on Crawford's record, it was a defining moment that cemented his place among boxing's all-time greats. He added that Mayweather's dismissive stance can't take away from the magnitude of Crawford's accomplishment.
Is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance.
Jeff Mayweather shared strong thoughts on the shock Terence Crawford delivered to Canelo Alvarez, noting that the loss will forever be tied to Canelo's legacy. He explained that Canelo was seen as the undisputed ruler of the division, carrying both dominance and prestige, yet he was beaten by a fighter who moved up in weight to challenge him on his own turf. To Jeff, this wasn't just a minor setback but a lasting mark on Canelo's career. He stressed that great champions are remembered by defining moments, and unfortunately for Canelo, one of his defining moments became a crushing defeat at the hands of Crawford.
But either way, he was in discussion certainly with Chavez. What does this do to his legacy? Because I don't think he got, the Floyd fight didn't give him, people didn't really look down on, because he was, even though he had 40 fights, he was still, fighting one of the greatest ever in an absolute master. In Bivol, he went up weight classes to win. But now he's fighting a smaller guy, a great fighter, but a smaller guy. Does this damage his legacy in any way?
I think it does. I think it does because, the one thing is this, is that, you were ruling, you were the king of that weight class. And the king of that weight class for a good while. And I think that, he had a huge following because, he became the face of boxing.
And even though it's another, future Hall of Famer, still losing, losing a guy come up a couple weight classes, kind of makes you seem not as great as you might have been.
Stephen A. Smith was blown away by Terence Crawford's victory and openly expressed his admiration. Being present to witness the moment firsthand made it even more powerful for him. Smith highlighted that no fighter in boxing history has accomplished what Crawford just did, moving up in weight to convincingly defeat a dominant champion like Canelo Alvarez. He described it as a career-defining performance that elevates Crawford into a league of his own, ensuring the night will be remembered as a milestone in boxing history. For Smith, this wasn't just another fight, it was a turning point in how greatness itself is measured in the sport.
This was Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, really 3 in my mind, because we only fought 1 fight at the junior middleweight division. So he's really moving up from 147 pounds, okay? Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up to the 168-pound limit in an effort to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world from the grasp of Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, I was there because let me tell you something right now. There's very, very few sporting events in the world that are better than a super fight in Vegas. I can tell you that right now. There's very, very few events. Props to Nick Khan of the WWE.
After the fight, Terence Crawford's trainer made it clear that his fighter has nothing left to prove. In his eyes, Crawford has reached a level where his respect should be unquestionable, yet some critics continue to hold back. This frustration highlighted how, even after dominating one of the sport's biggest stars, Crawford still faces battles outside the ring. The trainer stressed that Crawford isn't focused on chasing his next opponent right now, because what he accomplished against Canelo is already enough to secure his place in boxing history. For Crawford, this moment wasn't about hunting for names, it was about solidifying a legacy that speaks for itself.
Terence Crawford and his well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer of the year and future Hall of Fame trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, recently did an interview in which Bomac stated that a fight is not happening. And this particular fight is a fight that everybody wanted to see Canelo Alvarez take, and Canelo Alvarez refused to take this fight with a 28-year-old two-division world champion, reigning WBC light heavyweight, former two-time WBC super middleweight, the Mexican Ecuadorian superstar boxer, who's one of my favorite fighters and a great person, David, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster Benavidez, who has 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout, stands at 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach, and fights at 175. But the entire time David Benavidez was fighting at 168, Canelo Alvarez was brought up, and he never accepted the fight. And so, with that said, now people are trying to project this fight on Terence Crawford, and they're saying that Terence Crawford needs to take the fight. So Bomac yesterday did an interview, and Bomac said they're not fighting David Benavidez. And so now people are pushing this notion that Terence Crawford is ducking and Terence Crawford is scared of David Benavidez. And if he don't fight David Benavidez, according to Boxing News 24...
Timothy Bradley delivered one of the strongest takes yet, putting Terence Crawford directly in the same conversation as Floyd Mayweather. Bradley argued that Crawford's name now deserves to sit at the very top of any all-time great discussion. For him, this wasn't just about Crawford defeating Canelo, it was about reshaping what it truly means to be pound-for-pound number one. Bradley acknowledged Mayweather's mastery in his era but insisted that Crawford just proved he could operate at an even higher level by overcoming Canelo at his peak. In Bradley's view, the victory elevated Crawford into rare company, a realm reserved only for the sport's absolute legends.
It might be too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep, y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here and you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real and you gonna get the truth. Dang it, that's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terence Crawford. Everybody put his resume down.
Roy Jones Jr. offered a balanced take, noting that the circumstances of Terence Crawford's win over Canelo were very different from Floyd Mayweather's. He explained that when Floyd beat Canelo, the Mexican star was still young and developing, which allowed Mayweather's superior skill and ring IQ to shine through. Crawford, on the other hand, went up against a fully established, battle-tested version of Canelo, the same fighter who had reigned over his division for years. Despite being the smaller man, Crawford was able to break him down. For Roy, that distinction makes Crawford's victory even more remarkable, as he conquered a stronger, wiser, and more polished version of Canelo.
Generational great in Canelo Alvarez, really 3 weights above his natural weight class. Does that put him in the conversation with the likes of yourself as the greatest fighter of all time?
Yes, it does, and the reason it does is because he couldn't get the credibility down in his own weight class, so he went up to go challenge himself to fight it, and he found a very formidable, good opponent.
Do you think Canelo Alvarez is on the decline or not?
No, I don't think it's on the decline at all.
So you think both fighters are still at their peak, even though they're 36, 37?
Yeah, I think they're both still at their peak. The age for Crawford would seem like he may be beyond it, but he hasn't had the fights, the tough fights we have put him there. And the years of boxing for Canelo would have put him in a position where they're about equal. So I think they both are pretty much in a great place. I think they're both still in their primes, and this is the best time to see them fight.
Duke McKenzie was left astonished by Crawford's performance, saying Canelo had no solution for the non-stop pressure, speed, and pinpoint accuracy he faced. He described the showing as nothing short of incredible, one of the most complete performances seen in modern boxing. McKenzie stressed that Crawford didn't just unify the division, he demonstrated that he's nearly untouchable even against elite-level opposition. Speaking with a mix of awe and admiration, he noted that Crawford has now set a bar so high that very few fighters in the sport's history may ever be able to match it.
That feeling, do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable. He's a 3-time undisputed world champion, and he's beaten the best of the best. Now, for me, there were red flags way before this fight. Not way before the fight. You know, in the build-up to this fight, Canelo's body language in the run-up to this fight. You know, he turned up in Vegas in his stretch limo, in his Armani suit. He's had his kids and his wife in the back of the car, and he's got out and he's strolling around like he owns the gaff. Now, that all that signified to me was a very comfortable man. He was too comfortable. And Terence Crawford just kept it real from the outset. Tracksuit, no nonsense, went there to win, said what he was going to do, told the world what he was going to do long before the fight. I think he asked for this fight many years ago. The discussion he had with Bill Haney, and I think it was him that actually suggested, call out Canelo, which he laughed at the beginning, but then it came to fruition, and now it's come to fruition. I mean, what you saw in that fight yesterday, what I watched in that fight yesterday, it was for the purists. It really was, because you really have to try and understand boxing and know what you're looking at. It was the feints. It was the way that he handled the bigger man. It was the little feints, the little side steps, the little flicking with the jabs, you know, hitting him with the head and the body, the little combinations, the little 2s and 3s, and also with Crawford knowing how to close a round, knowing how to win rounds.
Trainer Robert Garcia delivered one of the strongest praises for Terence Crawford's legacy, suggesting that in this context, Crawford has surpassed what Floyd Mayweather accomplished. Garcia highlighted how Crawford decisively won the majority of rounds against Canelo while showing a fearless hunger that few fighters possess. He pointed out that Mayweather never took the gamble of moving up in weight to dominate a naturally bigger, more powerful champion in this way, making Crawford's achievement both rare and historic. For Garcia, this victory wasn't just about titles or statistics, it was about taking bold risks and succeeding, the very trait that separates true legends from the rest.
Canelo has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't, I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised at how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three-time, three-division undisputed. He wanted to go up, he wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money, that he's not hungry anymore.
You think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's three division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing. If Canelo doesn't have any changes, he needs to do a lot of changes. Canelo needs to do a lot of changes. I think a rematch would do triple the money that he did in this fight and then retire. But I would be so happy to hear he retired.
Brian Norman Sr. didn't mince words when he claimed Terence Crawford's domination of Canelo Alvarez was far more punishing than anything Floyd Mayweather ever did. His comments struck a chord with both fans and analysts because they reflected exactly what unfolded in the ring. Canelo, long seen as the ruler of his division, wasn't simply beaten, he was systematically dismantled by a fighter who had moved up 2 weight classes to challenge him. Crawford's display was a masterclass, redefining what greatness looks like in modern boxing. For years, Canelo Alvarez reigned as the face of the sport, a champion who carried the super middleweight division while defeating big names and building a reputation as nearly untouchable. His heavy combinations and relentless pressure often left opponents falling short. But in one night, Crawford tore that aura apart. The shock wasn't only in the result, it was in the way it happened. Canelo wasn't narrowly outpointed or worn down. He was outclassed, left without answers, and forced to accept that Crawford had reached another level entirely.
I bet against Bud on Porter. I didn't think that Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud the best, right? He hands down. He the best. He the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him his respect. He just went up 2 weight classes, what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do, and he is doing it with ease.
Break,
you gotta respect that.
Break it down for me. How did he win that fight in the way he won it tonight?
He won the fight by gaining Canelo's respect. I think he was already in Canelo's head a little bit. I think that even though Canelo knew he was smaller and everything else, these fighters are still humans and they hear what the people are saying. Canelo was Crawford was undefeated. Look at what he did to the Spence. I mean, look at what he's doing to some of these people. So no matter what, I mean, you have to take that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Even no matter what he did against Primo or whatever else, you got to take into consideration what Bud has been known to do when it's time to do it. You know what I'm saying? So again, I think Canelo respected him, and I think that was the biggest part.
Canelo just said in the press conference that Crawford's better than Mayweather, having shared the ring with both. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things that's it's opinionated situation because styles make fights. He beat him up. He beat Canelo up worse than Mayweather beat him up. He definitely did that. So in that case, you can ask the question: did he beat him up worse than Floyd did? Absolutely. But I mean, that would be an opinionated thing because styles make fights. You just never know. You know what I'm saying?
Different eras.
Different eras. It's a lot of things. You can't really.
Boxing great Andre Ward framed Crawford's triumph as a defining chapter in the sport's history. He called it a once-in-a-generation performance, an event future fans will revisit as a true milestone. Ward emphasized that moments like these are the ones that shape legacies, distinguishing elite athletes from the legends who transcend time. What stood out most to him was Crawford's discipline, how he stayed composed, calculated, and mentally steady without letting emotions take control. In Ward's eyes, this victory marked a legendary breakthrough, cementing Crawford among the all-time greats. By breaking down Canelo so decisively, Crawford positioned himself on a level that only a rare few in boxing history have ever reached.
Canelo Alvarez tonight. What was your thoughts on that performance from Terence?
Terence Crawford, great performance, man. He's been doing this throughout the course of his career. The stakes were a lot different in this fight, a lot more danger. He had to fight that kind of fight in order to beat Canelo Alvarez tonight, and he did that at 37, but getting ready to be 38 years old. And he proved, like Max said, that he is the GOAT of this generation. Hats off to Canelo for taking the fight. He didn't have to take it. Hats off to Turkey Al-Sheikh for putting it together. Just a great night for boxing.
Yeah. How special a fighter is someone like Terence Crawford? There was no signs of a size disadvantage there. How special?
You can see it in spots, but it wasn't significant. And I didn't think it was going to be significant. And people call me crazy, but I've been around Terence. He's strong. He's got a wrestling background, and people don't realize that he's been boiling himself down all these years and still being successful, not having to do that. His condition seemed impeccable, and his strength was there, the power was there enough to get respect from Canelo. So what more can I say?
What would you like to see him do next? Do you think there's another fight after this?
I'd like to see him be done. What are we boxing for at this point? What else is there to do? There's always going to be a YouTuber or a reporter or somebody conjuring up another challenge. We box to get ourselves in a better financial position, to build a name and a legacy. Those boxes are checked. What else are we doing?
That wraps up today's breakdown. Make sure to stick around for more updates, and we'll catch you in the next video.